All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we are talking House of the Dragon Season 2 and The Boys Season 4. We're just kind of giving our thoughts as both seasons aren't really over yet or close to being over yet. We're going to first talk about House of the Dragons, and then we're going to talk about The Boys. So if you want to skip ahead and go to The Boys and listen to that, there's descriptions on Apple, Spotify, whatever you're listening to this on, down in the description. So if you want to skip ahead, you can. But I want to say from this point on, from when we're recording this, I'll start here. From when we're recording this, the first 2 episodes of House of Dragons is out, and then the first half of the Boys is out. The first 4 episodes. There's only 8 of both seasons.
8 for the Boys.
Yeah, it sucks. So there's only 8 for both. I think our plan is with the Boys, we're just going to give our thoughts about the first 4 episodes, and then after the second half is done and out, we're going to do a full review on that, mainly talking about the second half. Whereas House of the Dragons, we're going to do a little bit differently. I think the plan is just for our YouTube listeners, so go check out your YouTube. We're going to do a House of the Dragons episode every week where we just talk about it on there for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, and just give our general thoughts. And then at the end of that season, we'll also do a review on that. So, we heard a lot from the first season of House of the Dragons that like we should have been breaking down each episode more in depth. And I feel like this is a way where we can do that. And then also it's for the YouTube, so go check it out. I think besides that, other news, just TV stuff real quick. The Bear Season 3 comes out tomorrow for when we're recording this. Really exciting. We've reviewed the other 2 seasons, so we're really excited about that. I think we're going to do that in the next couple weeks. And then Acolyte. Have you watched that at all yet, Aiden?
I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
I fell off. I've not watched it at all. I don't know if I'll end up reviewing that. It's not getting great reviews. I think it's got a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
But, Star Wars fans are kind of weird. I haven't watched it yet.
I'll finish it, but I just haven't had any reason to watch it. People have just
from what I heard. Right, yeah. From what I heard, the first 2 episodes were pretty decent. And then the 3rd episode, like the plot, nothing made sense. Like it became really bad. So I don't know. I think there's like 5 or 6 episodes out right now, I want to say. So that's not done yet either.
And I think I don't know what days they drop, but I think this newest episode was even worse. Like people were just
really
bitching on Twitter nonstop.
Yeah, I did see a clip where like there's a really cool lightsaber fight scene, and it was like the camera was behind trees almost. So like trees were blocking most of the fight. It was weird. I don't know. So I probably will watch it because I've watched every other Star Wars show so far. But yeah, I've not been that excited to watch it as I was when the trailer came out a few months ago. So, but yeah,
100% a chance.
Yeah, I was curious if you'd watched it yet or not because we hadn't talked about it. But
just the first 2 episodes. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to start talking about House of the Dragons first. Season 2, we have 2 episodes so far. I want to talk about obviously the first episode first. What did you think of the way? Yeah, what did you think of the way it started? I want to just say real fast that the snow with the Stark theme song and seeing him was really, really cool.
Dude, such a great start to a second season that everyone's been waiting for. And I know that like a lot of people have read the book. I have not, but I know that like obviously people know what's to come. And I don't know, man. I think just hearing that like Stark theme song and then going, seeing the wall and all that, like it brings those Game of Thrones vibes back. Because I feel like that's the thing is House of the Dragon, like season 1, didn't feel like identical to Game of Thrones. I feel like it was unique and it has its own like vibe to it, has its own story. And I like that. And I think that hinting at that with that first episode opener, like it's just fucking lights out. Like we know we're in for a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for everything that's to come. And I think it was a Jacaerys that's over there. And
it goes and visits.
And I don't know I don't know that Stark's name, but they mention him in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's Ned's great grandfather.
Yep.
4 greats, I think. But
I don't know his name, but it's
yeah, we're not supposed to get him anymore this season.
No,
from what I saw.
Probably just a
little tease.
Because they could use that for a subplot. Or not even a subplot, but like a different I don't know if there's enough story behind him to give him his own show, but
Yeah, I know they have multiple shows in the works that they want
Yeah,
to do,
either
but
way, it's still sick.
yeah, I think what's cool about this is like we haven't read the books, but we're huge Game of Thrones fans, and my understanding is the books are written from the point of view of one of the characters in the show, or multiple characters. They're not priests. I forget what their names are, but anyway, they they learn these stories and then they write them in the book. So it's not
I think it's more of like the maid's hands.
okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah,
I think
so
so.
it's not characters that are actually in these scenes.
Hmm.
It's like hearsay almost. So what really happens can be different and original to the show and be a little bit different than what's in the books. And I think that aspect's really cool because we're kind of
Yeah.
seeing like George R. R. Martin's helping out with the show. He's one of the main writers on the show. So like what we're seeing on TV is what really happened in the story, which I think that angle of it is really cool.
Yeah,
So
hundred
even if
percent.
you've read the books, maybe your scene's going to happen differently than how it's written.
And that's how it has been so far, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
It looks like they're altering the story, but when you make it a point like that, like not a lot of people know that.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
I mean, they can do whatever they want with it at this point.
Yeah, and it's so cool that it's based off the book. I'm happy that they're doing that. Obviously, people love that book or the books. But yeah, the fact that they're kind of doing their own thing too, in a way, is pretty cool, and I like that angle of it. Um, but yeah, they basically this episode is a lot of cleaning up kind of what happened at the end of last season, where Rhaenyra's second child dies, um, and so or is killed by Aemon. Um, by his dragon. And yeah, it's just the seeing them like realize what happened and coping with that is really hard to watch. I think the acting is just amazing.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of where the season had to start too, and you see it from Team Black and Team Green.
Yo. And I love that Rhaenyra only has one line that entire first episode,
Yeah,
and I love how it picks up right where that season one finale cliffhanger ended. You know, where she's obviously like she hears news that he's been killed or Amy's
mm-hmm.
killed her son, and then it picks up right where we left off, like just days later, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
I
I
love
think we're
that.
I think we're pretty much done for the time being with these like crazy time jumps that we got in season one.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, dude, it's so
No,
good
I
so
mean
far.
season one finale was just insane, and then
Mm-hmm.
I mean from what I've heard from the story of uh,
Fire and Blood.
Fire and Blood,
Mm-hmm.
um, is that like we obviously know what happens to all these characters, and it happens very fast. So like this House of the Dragon, I think is only going to go 3, maybe 4 at most seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely I gotta get into the book. I said that after watching season one, but I have no reason to now. And but then again, like now that they're coming out weekly, like I don't want to get ahead of where I'm at, so I might as well just wait.
Wait till after.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
good. I think everything's like that first season was setting up everything, establishing, who's in power, who has, who's part of what family. And then now it's just like, we're just seeing the preempts of war, and it's all going to
Yeah.
unfold very fast.
Yeah. I want to talk about, Team Green too. Queen Allison and Sir Kristen Cole. Sir Kristen Cole's one of the most hated people on the internet right now.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I did see that did you see this, that the actor turned off all his comments on all social medias because he's just being attacked. It's like,
Well, I mean, that's
are
what happens
people
when, yeah, I
Are
mean, it
people
doesn't make
stupid
any
though? It's like
People are
he
very
is an
stupid.
actor. He's acting as the
Not
character. Like,
once
why
would
are you
I
attacking the
ever
guy?
in my entire life think that I would comment or see, like, if I saw Sir Christian Cole when I walked out of my house and he's walking down the
Right,
street and I'm like giving him shit about a thing that he's acting in. Like, I mean,
right.
but people are stupid. And then again, like, him as an actor, he needs to know, like, I mean, it's very simple. You literally post a story and you're like, "What the hell's wrong with you guys?" Like, I'm just an actor. But then, or you just let it build hype, and you just know that you're good at your job, and you just
Right.
ignore everything
Well, it was the same thing
because he
too
is a
with
good
like,
actor.
Yeah, same thing too with Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Like people
Well,
attack that poor kid, and and the Anakin's Skywalker actors, both of them got annihilated during the prequels, just destroyed online, and
it's just
and got terrible hate mail, and yeah, it's crazy, dude.
it's just
Like they are
it's like these
actors,
people don't have any friends that follow them and like see like what they post. Like if I was
right?
just sitting there all day talking shit to actors and actresses, you guys would call me out on it. As the
Right.
same I would do to you guys.
Yeah, and like you
Um,
said, it's not even his acting that people have a problem with; it's the character
yeah,
himself that
like
people
he
don't
wrote
like.
it.
Right? Yeah.
Like
So
he's making
yeah,
millions of dollars, so he'll be all right.
yeah, it'll be okay. But yeah, it's just so stupid. I just want to bring that up. But yeah, you see them hooking up. They hook up now. They have sex.
Mhm.
Now that her husband's passed. Uh, yeah, it's kind of hypocritical because Sir Kristen Cole, had feelings for Rhaenyra and wanted to run away with her in season one, and she didn't want to do that. And now he's sleeping with the queen, and hates Rhaenyra's guts. And
Even though that Rhaenyra gave him the same like opportunity,
right,
and
yeah,
now he's doing it and he's acting like she was in the wrong.
and Alicent and Rhaenyra got a huge argument over the same thing last season,
Yo,
and now both hypocrites, the worst
yeah.
hypocrites you could
Oh yeah.
possibly be. And so yeah, I think it's crazy that they're hooking up now. Um, you know,
And he's the king's hand, or not? He's not. Well, now he's the king's hand, but
now he's the king's
he
hand.
was
Yeah,
the he was the knight or whatever.
yeah. So a big part of episode one, just to kind of talk about the ending here, was blood and cheese. Um, Now, from my understanding in the book, they have three kids. One's a toddler boy, he's about two, and the other two kids are both five. So they have two boys, one girl, and Blood and Cheese go in there, and they ask the mom, who would you rather have killed? And she picks the youngest, the toddler, the 2-year-old, because she thinks, well, he hasn't been alive for that long, he probably won't remember. It's probably easier to take him out or whatever. Uh, and then they end up killing the older son anyways, which I believe his name's
Yeah.
Jaehaerys or something. Um, I'm bad with the names, especially for the little kids. But the kid in the book, it's like, you're 2 years old, you probably won't remember anyways. They don't do that in this one. I mean, they still ask her. They just ask her kind of which one's the boy, so they can
Yeah.
figure out
So like
son for son.
he can grow up his entire life hating his mother for giving him up,
Right.
you know letting him die, but then they obviously flip the switch and go opposite. But I don't. I
Right.
think that Blood and Cheese was great. I've heard many things about them, and a lot of people after season one were like, "Wait till you see Blood and Cheese." So I mean, I don't. None of us are like diehard fans enough to like be happy or upset. I think it was great. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously didn't show it, but the noise of them, breaking in and even blood going in and like strangling Cheese.
Dude, you can hear
You
the
know,
bones.
yeah, even though they're on the same thing, but then he goes up and obviously the King's Guard is banging the Queen, so he gave up his post, and it allows for Aegon's firstborn son to be murdered.
Yeah.
And then the craziest part about I guess that's the second episode.
We
Um,
can talk about the second episode.
yeah, but I mean the fact that Blood and Cheese, Damon was part of the gold capes. Was that what it was
Hmm.
called or
Yeah.
something?
Guard.
Yeah, so they go and Damon obviously goes into King's Landing and starts stirs all this shit up because he still has guys that are like that one guard said fuck the high towers,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just think it's sweet. I just think that, I mean, there's no sides to it. People will do anything, especially when the uh, town folk, just the regular everyday people, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they still have some loyalty to Damon basically. And yeah, so they wanted him,
Gold cloaks, that's what it
gold
was.
cloaks. Yes. Yeah. So it wasn't the original plan as we figure out early in episode 2. Um Although dude, like Rhaenyra's pissed at Damon, which I completely understand, but like do you think as a character, do you think Damon was upset that they killed the little kid instead, or do you think he does not care? Like he's still happy about
He
it
doesn't give a
either way?
shit, but
Because he said
obviously
son
he
for son.
wants. But I mean, that's the whole thing about what's going on like between sides is that Damon is obviously the the buff of Team Black, and then
Right.
Amond is the buff or the strong guy on Team Green.
Right.
And I mean, they're like obviously they're butting heads, and Amon is happy that Damon thinks of him like that, and Damon just thinks of him as like he just needs to be taken out. Which is the other thing too. I mean, like in episode 1 at the end when Rhaenyra goes, "I want Aemon Targaryen dead."
Hmm.
Like we know that he's not gonna die.
Yeah. And dude,
And
like,
I mean, not even reading the books or knowing any of the lore.
yeah. So I was like, damn, I hope they don't get Eamon because he's like a really cool character, and
Yeah.
he obviously rides Rhaegar, which is like the biggest dragon out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he is like one of the most powerful beings in the realm right now, just because of the weapons he has. So I get, and I'm sure he's like pissed that they didn't get him, but yeah, I don't think he regretted sending those guys blood and cheese to go do that job.
No, not at
You know,
all. And that's the other
so
thing too is I mean, like obviously Damon goes and tells him like he's missing an eye, son for his son, and then
right,
he goes. They obviously go into his room and they can't find him,
yeah,
and then they just go for the other one,
yeah,
which I'm sure Damon, if he would have known, probably would have called it off.
yeah.
But he was
And then
gone. Who knows where
and
he
then
is?
so Damon leaves, and we don't know really where he's going. It looks like in the episode 3 trailer, we see him in his badass armor that he has. So we'll see more of him in the
Yeah, it
next
looks like he
episode. But yeah,
takes
we don't
over
see him
like
for
the
the rest.
entire.
Right? He goes crazy. He's pissed off. Um, Most of this episode, I would say, for the bulk of it, is Team Green. Just kind of seeing how they're taking in the loss. You see like Aegon destroying the sculptures that his dad built
Mhm.
of King's Landing, and how his mom's taking it, how Sir Kristen Cole's taking it. Otto has this idea where they do this like parade showing the body. I feel like a lot of people thought when the wagon got stuck in that
His
hole
head
that
was
the
gonna
kid was
fall
going to
off.
fall off. Yeah, or something.
Yeah, I thought it
Doesn't
was.
happen. Yeah, so I thought for sure something
No.
was going to happen.
I mean, it's insane too. Like, obviously, it's embarrassing or it's like, made fun of having, showing what they did. But I
Right.
mean, Otto Hightower had a good idea, framing Rhaenyra, which they had no idea. I mean, obviously, they know that it's, someone on Team Black that did it.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously, blaming her. And we know that Rhaenyra isn't like that. Obviously, she's vengeful, but she doesn't want them to kill, her what was it technically be? Her nephew?
Nephew. Yeah.
Yeah, her nephew.
Yeah. Nephew. Yep.
But I mean, then again, like, Aemon should have never killed Lucerys.
Right. And to Eamon's credit, it did look like an accident after that happened. I think he
Yeah.
was just trying to scare him. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a domino effect. So um, Aegon is still pissed off. He doesn't feel happy or fulfilled with what that plan was. So he ends up hanging all the rat catchers. They find blood. He kind of squeals right away and tells him what happens. Although he just walks in and like with a mace and clubs him right in the head and kills him.
Yeah.
It's like you could have got more information. You could have brought the rat catchers down there, and Blood would have said which one he was working with. You know what I mean? Like easily. But instead, he doesn't do that. He
Well,
fucks
because
up
he's
multiple
young.
times. Right. Yeah,
He's
he's
young, and I mean,
young,
what's
pissed.
also I like the character development in episode 2 alone because we see Aegon, and obviously he's not fit to be king. He's on
Mm-hmm.
there even at the last season, when he's being sworn in as king. Um, you see him, and he's obviously like all these guys because imagine it happens all the time. We saw in Game of Thrones. They're like, our cattle. We need more cattle, and he's like, bring him more cattle. Like, he's not a dick. And then
Right.
Otto's and his grandfather's in his ear. You can't give them cattle, or else they're gonna ask for it, which makes sense. But
Yeah.
that's something you do before he even sits down on the throne,
Right.
right? You fucking
Yeah,
train
explain
him.
that
He
shit
goes
to
to
him.
class. He learns like someone teaches him how to talk. But
Yeah, and I believe I want to say he's supposed to be in his 20s, so he's not like that young.
yeah, but
Like
20s for a king when every other one that we've seen has
right.
been super, old.
Yeah. So, But you're right. Yeah, I mean, and I want to say too, I think Otto might be at 2 episodes in, might be my favorite character right now.
Ah,
Dude, his
I don't
scene
know.
where he goes in there right after they hang the rat catchers and he's fucking yelling at them,
Yeah.
and like his
Watch
expressions,
how
to
you
he's
speak
like,
to the king.
yeah, and he's like,
That king is my
and what
god.
did Sir Kristen Cole do? Like,
Yeah.
it's so like his line deliveries have been so good. Like, he was an asshole in season one,
Yeah.
obviously, but like season two so far, I like the shit that he's doing because he's like his whole thing. So he's a little bit different than like Tywin Lannister, right? Tywin Lannister just wanted to be the most powerful person. Otto almost cares more about the legacy. So like
100%.
Aegon hanging those rat catchers and the public seeing that and taking a bad rep at them, that's what's pissing him off. So I kind of like that character development from like season one. So that's
Definitely.
I really love that scene.
And the other thing with Otto, like Aegon hanging all the rat catchers, he's like, you got families weeping in the square, like, like all
Yeah,
that. But he has a point. Like, why would you do that? Because now, and that's the thing is, there's a war brewing,
right,
so you need as many people on your side as you can possibly get. And he knows that doing that to 13 different families, people talk, and then now they're Team Black. They will do
right.
anything to kill fucking the king Aegon because he just killed them for no reason.
Yeah,
So
and to cement, there's
he's
no
losing in
reason.
numbers. Yeah,
Right.
but I know what you mean about Otto because I hated him first season, hated him in the first episode, and then now just after this is where I'm like, all right, I like Otto now
Yeah, that's
because
kind of hype.
now he's gonna go. Now he's gonna go against Team Green for the most
Mhm.
part, or go against Aegon for all we know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's obviously still plotting with Alicent.
Yeah.
So like he's gonna go to wherever he said he was. And
Yeah, and then their dad comes up with the conversation, and he's like, "Yeah, we're all poorer for it for him not being around anymore," and so you
mhm.
could tell he misses him. But yeah, he is almost like a Littlefinger in a way too, where he's like the betterment for the realm, but also he cares more about his legacy as well. So that character is just like developing really good so far from
Yeah.
my
So I
understanding.
think
But
if we're going like giving predictions about Otto, I don't know
yeah,
if he goes. I don't think he will be enough to break and like go Team Black, but I think that he will do like if he has to fuck over Aegon to save the rest of his family or like the bloodline, like he will do it.
yeah, maybe to pass it on to yeah, to a different son or something.
Because I mean,
Like
it all
I don't
started
think
with
he'll
him just
completely.
wanting power.
Right. Yeah, and I obviously like his daughter's still the queen, and so like he still has stuff on that side. But yeah, just seeing him kind of break on Aegon to where the point Aegon makes Sir Christian Cole the new hand. I don't know how long that will
Yeah,
last.
yeah, I have no idea.
Um, I thought he was going to pick Lord Laris, Clubfoot,
I
feet
thought so
guy.
too, but then when Laris Clubfoot, when he went up to him, he didn't say like, you should pick me. If he would have
Right.
said that, then it would have made sense. But he's like, maybe it's time to reconsider your hand,
Yeah.
and then that was put in his brain the whole time. And he's a
Yeah.
little finger for sure.
He is. Yes. So
Yeah,
I wonder if he'll end up becoming though at the end of the season. Maybe he ends up becoming the hand. I don't know. I don't feel like Kristen Cole will last that long as the hand,
no,
but
I'm
we'll
just
see.
surprised that no one knows that he's banging the queen yet.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, if he would
It's
have known, like, I thought Otto was gonna fucking air him out right there.
right. Yeah, and so we see Sir Kristen Cole, the genius he is. He goes and confronts. It's not Eric. It's Aaron. I think it's Aaron and then Eric. Eric is the
No, they're both
brother.
Eric.
Oh, they're both Eric. Okay.
Yep, and they're just spelled different. One's with an A and one's with an E.
I see. Okay, so one of the Erics is on Queen Rhaenyra's side, and the other one is Aegon's side. And so Kristen Cole goes up to him and blames him for not being there to protect the child, even though it's his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so he convinces him to, not convinces him, but basically orders him to go pose as his brother, his twin brother, and kill Rhaenyra in her halls, in her own home.
Which is
So
crazy.
yeah, that was a crazy plan. It's basically like the Parent Trap of plans in Game of Thrones. But honestly, like Blood and Cheese just kind of worked that plan. So like you think it's not the dumbest plan, but a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah, but
Basically,
going in and striking down like the queen, like I knew that it wasn't gonna
pretending to be
happen.
the twin.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
like
just
you think Rhaenyra's
nuts.
gonna die like that quick? No.
No. Um, but yeah, so
But it was a good idea,
then
but it was just it was stupid. I mean, to think that he's gonna go in. And I mean, it worked. Like he got in, he got to the queen, but
Yeah,
he had one job, and it was to kill Rhaenyra. So
yeah,
he had multiple opportunities to go around Eric and slay the queen, but
yeah,
it was more of like just a battle at that point.
yeah. And then so I want to ask you something because I'm not too sure. The White Worm, who they end up letting go, Rhaenyra decides to
Massaria.
let her go. Yes, she's walking down the trail and she sees Eric, but she's like, "Wait, I just saw Eric, in the castle. How can that be?" She knows because she knows everything that he has a twin, and so that's probably who that is, and that Rhaenyra might be in danger. So you see her go back up the hill,
Yeah,
and we don't see her again for the rest of the episode. So do you think she went and found the other brother and told him, and that's why he ran in the room like that? Because
possibly
we don't
because I
see it,
mean he was leaving Rhaenyra's way, and then Eric was going towards that way. So maybe by
right?
the time like she got in, like she would have told him. But it would
Yeah,
have been good for us to see that.
right. Yeah. So
Because
I'm
I mean,
assuming she told
yeah,
him,
I
but I
mean the
don't
way
know.
that he comes busting in and saying brother, and like I'm assuming, and maybe in the next episode we'll see like Massario is gonna go back to Rhaenyra and be like, I saw this, like just kind of pleading her case. But
Right.
also, I mean, I wanted to bring that up before because Rhaenyra like lets her go and gives her like safe passage to wherever she was like headed to, and Massaria obviously like she's neutral, she's on no side.
Yeah.
And now that Rhaenyra just spared her life when she easily could have killed her or done whatever, especially knowing that she had history with Damon, um, she could have, she could have just killed her right there. And so
Right.
she owes her life to Rhaenyra. So now, as much as she's neutral, she's gonna be Team Black. And then also Rhaenyra knows that by doing this, like, hey, we know that she's not gonna fuck us over.
Right. Yeah. So that whole twin fight, I
Twin
I
fight was
know
good.
obviously, yeah, the way it's shot, you're not supposed to know which one's which at certain points. But man, I was really trying to focus on which one was which,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a great fight. It was one
Yeah.
of the
Oh yeah.
coolest scenes we've gotten this season, I
It was
think.
good, and especially like not knowing, like obviously when they showed like full body, you could see that Rhaenyra's Eric got cut in, like over the knee, like on his
Yeah,
knee. But
but
then
then, dude,
anytime they're up close and the
another one would
camera
get
zoomed in,
sliced.
I'm like, oh shit. And then you think that he wins at the end, and then you're like, oh, she's fucked. But then he just kills himself, to
Yeah,
honor
so
his brother, which is
I
insane.
saw I saw online where people were making the argument that the the brother from Team Green could have been the one that won, but since he killed his brother, he couldn't live with himself. But I saw that the showrunner confirmed no, that was Eric, Rhaenyra's Eric, that won the fight, and he just couldn't live with himself.
Yeah,
So he says your grace. So I assumed the good
yeah,
one won,
yeah,
but
yeah. The
people
good
were
one
making the
won.
argument.
Her
Yeah,
Eric won, and then I mean it's crazy for him to kill himself,
yeah. It's not
but
like the
but it makes sense.
it's not like the mountain and the hound. Like it's not like them fighting where they kind of genuinely hated each other and their brothers. These brothers really did love each other. It's just they showed loyalty to different people. That's really what it was. But they really did love each other, and so seeing one of them win and then not being able to live with themselves made sense. And that's just the dance of the dragons,
So,
basically. I
so
mean,
I also
that's
thought that him going in, like, Sir Christian Cole didn't tell him, like, he's like, how am I gonna go, and like, you would think that he would take his brother out, or
yeah,
talk him into like joining Team Green, and then giving him like the armor, and then he goes in solo. I would have
hmm
never thought that he would just walk in, avoid him, then go in, and they would battle to the death. I thought he
right.
would have had it gone to uh I don't know, what is it, Dragon's Keep? No, I don't know.
But Aiden,
Wherever.
how cool would it have been if the bad brother would have won, stood up, said your grace? She thinks it's the good brother, and then he plays the long con. He like stays there for a few days, pretending to be
Yeah, but that would have been
Eric, and
nuts.
then kills it. Like that would have been
Yeah, that would have
sick.
been great. But then
Yeah,
also they should. I thought that when he went to wherever they were, Dragon's Keep, or I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. But they would have fought
I think it's
before
Dragonstone or something.
Dragonstone. They
Yeah,
would have fought before he went in. Like in order to get the armor and shit. Because how the hell did he get that?
yeah,
So I don't know. But it was great. I
interesting.
love that. I mean, first first episode we get blood and cheese, we get a death, and then second episode we lose both of the king's guards, like
who are sick
good,
too. They're
yeah,
sweet.
good men,
Yeah.
and now they're
And
both
so,
gone.
and then by the end of the episode, you see Aegon crying. You think his mom's going to console him. Nope, she walks out to go get some dick. Um, and yeah, dude, like you'd think, oh my god, my granddaughter died. I feel remorse. It's like no, she goes in there, hits Kristen Cole a couple times just to get her
Yeah.
anger out, and then they start having sex again, and they're back to it again. You know what I mean? So they clearly haven't learned. I don't know. Eventually, they got to get caught by someone.
Well, also now it's a lot different because he's the king's hand and he's not,
Right.
Fuck.
But maybe it pisses Aegon off.
What do you mean?
Aegon figures out.
But now I think he can have a relationship with Allison.
Yeah, no,
When he's a
technically
Kingsguard, he
can.
couldn't.
Right.
But now he can because he's a hand.
Yeah. I think you're right, but it might piss Aegon off. Oh, you're my hand, but you have your hand in my mom.
Oh, 100%. And that's why, I mean, I really want to know, like, how each character dies eventually. Because it just eats me alive.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, as gruesome and gory as Game of Thrones was, like, I think someone's going to fucking suffer.
Yeah. So, interesting to see what happens. We can kind of go...
Great.
We can kind of go off our predictions from next episode, but really we saw the trailer already, so we kind of have a good idea as to what's going to happen. I know from what I've heard, a lot of the budget for this season has gone into dragon fights, so we haven't seen that yet. I think there's a lot to come.
It'll happen soon.
Dance of the Dragons, yeah, it might be next episode.
Some dragon stuff.
Next episode.
But I know that
so
it's definitely going to be like Daemon going on his own and like taking over an entire. Or clearing or becoming allies with someone. I don't know. But yeah. I'm excited. And we'll be back next week to break that one down. So
Yep. So go check out our YouTube for episode 3. We're just going to keep doing it. And then, like I said, when the season ends, we will review the whole thing. Probably mainly the last episode, though. But we'll see. But yeah, that was our House of the Dragons discussion for the first 2 episodes. Now let's talk The Boys, season 4.